nikufuate wewe Bwana, unibadili, niache yote Bwana, unibadili, nikufuate wewe milele.
Nyakalondo mar Maria, duond ja Kristo e odi.
Badili matendo yangu nitendayo, nitendayo yawe ya kupendezayo wewe.
To our listener who are listening to us through the radio, welcome back. And also you can follow the discussion through our Facebook page, Radio Maria Kenya Kisumu. And today we are also having our visitor. Brender is joining us today. Brender from CJPD, taking us through discussion, breaking chains of corruption. Brender, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Yes, so thank you so much, Sister Diana, for this opportunity. I think it's yet another day that I'm coming back here to sensitize our dear listeners on breaking the chains of corruption. I think it's becoming something normal. We want them to understand, what breaking the chains of corruption means, and this marks our 5th week. So today we are having a specific theme, that is breaking complacency. So we want to look at our moral duty to act. And this pegged on scripture from the book of James, chapter 4, verse 7, which I'll be able to take our dear listeners through. And then also we shall be dwelling so much about the Catholic social teaching, the principle on social responsibility, and the common good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brenda. You can continue.
Thank you so much, Sister Diana. So today, like I've said, we want to reflect on a very uncomfortable but a necessary theme, breaking complacency. When you talk about complacency, especially under this context of corruption, it may come with some degree of discomfort to a number of listeners, but the truth is we really have to discuss it openly to understand what complacency is in the corruption platform and how best, we can tackle it. So straight away, I would take our dear listeners to the scripture, the main scripture for today. That is from the book of James 4:17, and you allow me to read.
Okay.
The scripture says, so whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is a sin. When we talk of complacency, then you'd ask yourself, what is this complacency? So we are talking about the truth, seeing injustice, and choosing comfort for conscience. So the scripture is very clear. From the verse we are told, it doesn't speak about evil actions. It speaks about failing to do the right thing after seeing a wrongdoing. That is what we call complacency. And in this context, you realize that many people think sin is only about doing bad things. We have only sinned when you've done a bad thing. Or maybe we are seeing in the scripture, it teaches us that silence, indifference, that attitude of just lacking an interest or not being concerned, and even, that inaction can also be very sinful. You've not done the actual sin that you think is something bad, but through your action, you failed to do something that in itself is a sin. So today's reflection invites us to ask, where have I known the good and chosen not to do it? Are there situations whereby maybe you've seen somebody do something wrong, and in that context, maybe it was expected you tell them, no, stop, this is wrong, this is how it should be done, but you chose to keep quiet. So that is the complacency that we are talking about today. So allow me to briefly take our dear listeners to understand the concept complacency in details. So complacency, like I said earlier, it is all about knowing the truth, seeing injustice, and choosing comfort over conscience. Because it doesn't concern you, unaachana nayo. And in our context, I would love to give various examples. For instance, you see corruption, but you say, hiyo ndio Kenya. Weifanye. Unaona, there is corruption, but you think that is the situation and that is how it should be. So it doesn't concern you. Ama you witness an abuse or discrimination, but you say, sio shida yangu, sisi wewe unafanya ama ikugusi. So you say, I
what doesn't hurt me doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me, it doesn't concern me.
Yeah.
So you see, that also is an act of complacency. Then another one would be seeing suffering or telling yourselves someone else will help. Umekutana na mtu, like I would give a simple example. You've seen somebody struggling. Maybe you are in a place where you have the disabled, but that place is not disability friendly. So somebody is struggling probably to access certain services, but you don't care because it is not you. So that is really inappropriate and a very good example of complacency in our context. So then Christians need to understand, why is complacency dangerous? One, it makes evil feel normal. Because with such an attitude, you take everything to be normal, even a wrongdoing. Then, in the long run, it will kill a sense of moral sensitivity. While you thought somebody would be reasonable enough to see a situation as a wrongdoing, they normalize everything. And now they see it as sinivo. Like I said, hiyo ndio Kenya. That is the culture. So you follow it, ama you are phased out. And lastly, why we need to understand that complacency is dangerous is it turns good people into silent accomplices. Because if you choose not to report a wrongdoing, then you are part of that corrupt deal. Yes. So if you want to get yourself away from it, do what is right. I would say that the greatest strategy of injustice is not the anger of the wicked, but the silence of the good. This was some time quoted by somebody, I've forgotten the name of the philosopher. So do not think when the wicked suffer and you choose to ignore what they are going through, yet you've seen very well their situation or circumstance, you've not sinned. You are part of that process, and you are an accomplice, making you part of that process. So directly you've sinned. We cannot call it indirectly. You are part of the process. So Diana, you will allow me to take our dear listeners through scriptural foundations that is backing up the first verse that we've read from the book of James. And I would read the first one from the book of Isaiah 1:16 to 17. So in a summary, it says, learn to do good, seek justice, and rescue the oppressed. In this situation, God does not say, you feel bad or you pray only. The scripture talks of learn to do good, seek justice, and rescue the oppressed. What the scripture means here is learn, seek, and rescue. These are action words, meaning tunafaa kuyaona kwa matendo. But when you choose to pray like over something, yes, you've seen that oppression from that person. Unaenda kwingine unaanza kuomba, but yet the oppressor hujamwambia you are doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. You haven't reported that case. Then whatever you are doing is wrong. Mm-hmm. Learn it, speak about it, and rescue that oppressor. So we are also told that faith without justice is empty worship. Hakuna vile utakuwa unasema like your faith, you truly believe in God, but you see so many wrongdoings in the society. You see people take bribes everywhere. You see somebody defile a child somewhere in the society, but these things go unreported. You are that type of a neighbor who does not even say hi kwa jirani. Those are some of the things. So where is your faith if every day Brender, a staunch CW member, or maybe, that devoted Christian, you go to church every day, but hata salamu kwa jirani hakuna. Unaona mtoto wa jirani amekosa hata exercise books ndiye aende shule, but you don't support. Not that you don't have, unaweza mnunulia books, and yet you claim that you have faith. That is injustice. So faith without justice is an empty worship. How I wish our dear listeners could make this in bold. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is important we understand it. Okay. Then the next verse comes from the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, 8-9, and I read, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves." Still, we are talking of oppressor. There are situations in life that put people in vulnerable, circumstances. You find yourself in a vulnerable state that you can never speak for yourself. We have the less fortunate in the society. Pale nyumbani, a good example that I would give, in a community, you realize that we have like community property. A good example would be land. Then maybe there is a widow, a woman who lost her husband. Then there are the other relatives, the brothers to the late husband. They choose to grab the little property that was left for this woman. Mm-hmm. You as a Christian, you see this act, but you decide to keep quiet. At times, in such situations, you realize that even the people who are meant to defend you, like you are having like maybe local administration, we call them the village elders, those who should come to your rescue, they see, but because the other person is advantaged in the society, probably they are the big names in that society, nobody wants to act. Mm-hmm. So this widow ends up losing the only piece of land that they have, simply because hana mtu wa kumtetea. Mm-hmm. So as a listener, as a dear, a Christian, you are challenged to come out and defend these people, speak for themselves. You may just be the two people to talk about it, but you shall have done your part. Mm-hmm. So you would ask yourself, who in my community has no voice? There are quite a number. Could it be the poor? Could it be the widows, the youths, and also victims of corruption? So there are so many vulnerable people in our communities that we have to come out to speak for them. And the community includes even places of work. Mm-hmm. At a place of work, you could have people who are disadvantaged. While we have like the laws that probably, laws that regulate our employment with our employment relationship at work. But then you see, like some employers, they choose to underpay employees. The law is very clear on the minimum wage bill. If the law talks of lipa huyu not less than probably 15,000, then you choose to pay them like 8,000 because you feel it is a favor. That in itself is a corruption. And you see such a person, simply because they feel it is a favor done to them, they end up working in such miserable situation. Every month, at the end of the month when they receive their pay, they look more miserable than they looked before receiving that salary. So these situations are everywhere. Some are outright exploitations, but really we need to come out to speak about so that people are not oppressed in any social setup. Then another thing would be from the book of Matthew 25, verse 42 to 45. I would go to the specific word. It talks of, I was hungry and you gave me nothing. In this context, it doesn't mean like just the actual anger, nimekosa chakula, hujanilisha, ndiyo hiyo iko, like I may not even afford a lunch, but unanibaia. But when we come deep into the word, what it means here, what I was saying previously, I was in a vulnerable situation. Did you come out to save me? How best did you support me? Or wewe ni ule umeona nikiteseka, then you go out discussing me. You discuss my misery with people, and then that gets back to me and it worsens my situation. It interferes with the state of my mental health. I was hungry. How best did you help me? How many children outside there, like now so many students joined grade 10. But up to now we still have those who are at home for lack of school fee, some basic things like stationery to go to school. You as a Christian, how best have you supported that child? The support here does not mean umnunulie. You can even pick that child. Mpeleke kwa maybe an area MP, an MCA, look for even, other people to support that child. You shall have helped. And that is what we are looking at. So, tusijipende sana, tusikuwe na ubinafsi sana, because sisi sote tuko na majukumu mbalimbali. But ule wakati unapojieka mbele kwa kila kitu, then you tend to forget about the rest. You just see yourself in everything. So when you choose to neglect the vulnerable, definitely you shall have neglected the Christ. The two go hand in hand, and we were told all of us were created in the image and likeness of God. So lastly, I move to the last verse from the book of Ephesians 5, verse 11, and it says, having nothing to do with the deeds of darkness, but expose them. We are told that Christians are not called to adapt darkness. Expose that which is wrong, but hidden. In a society like I was giving an example of a widow who has been, the only piece of land has been taken away, ama wamefukuzwa kwa kijiji. Who does this person turn to? And you've seen this. How best have you helped the situation? So bring it out to the public limelight. Let it be known that this and this has happened. See, like when they're like shouting, you come out to help. So those were the critical scriptures that back up our discussion for today, that is on breaking complacency. So straight away, allow me to move to the next topical area that talks about, the Catholic social teaching principle on social responsibility and common good.
Okay.
So we want to understand, I think what we should be asking ourselves here, and I said it in our last discussion, everybody in the society is expected to do common good. And common good, it doesn't matter, you as an individual, where socially, economically, spiritually, you are well placed, you need to do a common good to anybody in that society. Why? We say everybody is responsible. I am responsible as an individual. You, Diana, you are responsible in your own capacity. So together, we are responsible in our society. And then we are told that faith is not private. Faith can never private. When you've chosen to follow Christ, it is something that will come out publicly. When faith is hidden, that is when we hear of so many, bad cases. You talk of, like for instance, what happened in Shakahola. When things are made private, people don't want to speak about it publicly, then we are going, we are losing it. Then another thing is discipleship and citizenship. The two go together. When we have chosen to follow Christ, we must be responsible citizens of our society. And that is the common good that we are talking about. It therefore means being a Christian involves caring about your governance. Be concerned about your governance, and we thank God we are having devolution in our various countries. So you really need to understand what happens in your countries, in our counties. Those of us who are in employment, understand the governance of your organization or the organizations you work for. Understand the leadership of your family as an individual. That also form part of, micro governance within our families. And also you are expected to understand justice. As a Christian, you must understand what justice is and how systems affect the poor. I was reading somewhere, somebody was giving an analogy of, I think, how we've been, the Kenyan government has been since 2001 to date, and they were making reference to members of the legislature. So somebody says, in 2001, capitation per every child was around 1,024 shillings. During that time, our MPs were earning around 350,000 Kenyan shillings. Then, progressively, you realize that the MPs' allowance have increased to around 725,000. That is the current pay. But the capitation is still stuck at 1,024 shillings. So you ask yourself, these are people we elect to these positions to support us, to help us alleviate poverty. But you see, when they get there, their interests become priority. So then we really need to come back to the drawing board. You ask yourself, education, something that will easily take us away from poverty. This is the much attention it is given by the government. But now you see the MPs, the so-called MCS, people pocket millions of money, and yet somebody who voted them in can hardly afford even 50 shillings in a day. So those are some of the hard questions we should be asking ourselves as Christians. The focus may not be on politics, but even you as an individual, you ask yourself, probably you are that type of parent mwenye anajipenda tu, hapendi masomo ya watoto wake, and this is their future. When you are told, take your child probably to school, unasema huna pesa. But you have money to spend on your clothing as a lady. Yes, you may need to look nice. You dress very well, you look presentable. Back at home, your kids do not have clothes. Back at home, watoto wanatembea miguu tupu. That is a sense of irresponsibility, an irresponsible parent. So the truth here is, you cannot say you love God while you see how injustice destroy God's people. People need to come together. When we talk of matters social concern, it is a joint responsibility. But again, God does not want you as an individual to change the world. Just do whatever is at your, disposal, that you can change as an individual. Somebody else, like I said, we are all responsible in the society. We'll do the other, and together you get, a very unified society, a peaceful society that is favorable to everybody and promotes human dignity and also the common good. Yes, so as we still continue to discuss about the social teaching of the Catholic Church, what I would like to emphasize on this is let it be your responsibility as an individual to ensure that always you do common good to yourself and to others. The moment you don't want anything wrong done unto you, you will not want to see it in others. Ile yenye unataka Brenda akufanyie ndio wewe pia ufanyie wengine. But if you feel discomfort with that, then kuna shida mahali. So I want us also to take time and look at forms of complacency in the Kenyan context. And these are realities. So number one, I would speak about normalizing corruption. We know very well, and if I refer back to what the late Pope Francis talked about, corruption, he referred to corruption as a cancer that is eating the nation. Yesterday, quite unfortunate, I watched news, I saw a situation at Kenyatta Hospital whereby cancer patients go there for treatment, the therapy sessions, but then somebody has to wait for between 3 to 4 days to be attended to. They don't stay within the facility. They have to look for fare to that place. They also have to look for accommodation because they don't stay within Nairobi. People have come from all over. But then it really pained me when they came out. People say I've been here. The PS unfortunately went there. I think it was the National Cancer Day or something.
Yes,
so he went straight away to sign the visitor's book without saying hi to the people. Most of the machines that are used to treat them, some were had broken down or something, so the patients could not get the right services. But then you ask yourself, this is something urgent because treatment for their case would be an emergency. You know how a scare cancer is. But then you ask yourself, why hasn't the Kenyan government prioritized treatment of cancer? Because cancer is eating our nation, and it has become very rampant. Today in our society, either you've been affected in one way or another. We are people who have lost their loved ones. Like myself, I lost my dad to cancer. Recently, I lost my shemeji at the age of 34 to cancer. And we've seen several cases of cancer that have been reported in our nation. So you ask yourself, why can't the government prioritize these in the health sector? How does it feel when really you need such services, but nobody seems to care? The SHA, we are told that SHA has failed, it is collapsed, it is a scam. Cancer drains money. Cancer impoverishes people. Itachukua ile mali yote mulikuwa nayo, muende mukiombaomba watu, and again, everybody is burdened because people have other responsibility. Why can't the government prioritize this? I would rather love it if, for instance, the money that is being given to our the youths, the Nyota Fund, if that money was channeled, or a section of it was channeled to healthcare. Because maisha ni kitu ya maana sana, and it is urgent. You are not going to do a business while you are sick. We saw a youth there who was sick.
Yeah.
Somebody by the name, I think Otieno or somebody. He is sick. So if you are given that money, ikusaidie, you are jobless, yes, and you are sick, the 22,000, itakusaidia kweli. So I think we are not getting our priorities right. And I really empathized with the people, the patients at Kenyatta Hospital. But then you realize, even after seeing that, There are some of us who have never been to that state. Then they say, but that is the situation. What can we do? There is something that we can do. And the change that you want is what you pursue. So in this case, I think we should challenge the legislature. Let us prioritize health. The health system is collapsing, and that is quite absurd. Collapsing. Education system is collapsing. People are graduating outside here, everybody with a degree. You know, you do your first degree, you go for masters. We have people completed their diploma, but hakuna kazi. So kuna haja ya kuendelea na masomo kweli? Pale nyumbani unaambia mtoto, mwanangu, ndenda shuleni siku moja, wenda maisha yetu yakabadilika. But then, huyu mtoto naona ndugu yake amemaliza form 4, ameenda university or college, but they are back at home. Wako kwa streets, ndio hao wanapewa the 22,000. I think something should be done. Something should really be done, and it is my prayer that even our government will give us an opportunity just to talk about corruption. Talk about corruption and its interconnectedness with faith. If we took that path, so many things would change. Then another thing, still in the Kenyan context, people fear, the consequence of you've come out to speak about it.
Yeah.
Nini itafanyika? If you are working, huenda ukapoteza kazi yako because somebody would think you are fighting, your seniors, you are fighting the government, unapigana na familia yako. So you lose your job because mtu atasema wewe ndio mdomo hapa. Sasa nenda nyumbani, kazi kuisha. Yes, you get isolated.
Yeah.
Then another thing, umejua kuna tu wale watu wanataka kulipa kisasi. Umefanya hivyo, they wait for some time and then they hit you hard. Yeah. So as a result, watu wananyamaza. And like we said, you choose to keep quiet, you are part of the process.
You said tulipata hapo.
Yes.
Tutaizoea tu.
Tutaizoea kabisa. Uwezi badilisha anything. That's how people say it outside here. Then lastly, they say, they want to pass that responsibility to another person. We understand very well that, like in Kenya, we have institutional bodies that are mandated to address matters corruption. We have EACC, we have inaitwaje not IPOA, Haji. I'm forgetting the body, but there are quite a number. We also have the judiciary. But then somebody says, hiyo ni kazi ya so and so. I was somewhere like 2 months ago, tulienda kwa soko, unapata mtu anarusha taka pale chini, ukimuuliza jameni kuna dustbin pale, si ukachukue hii taka ukatupe pale. Then they say, it is not my responsibility. There are people who are paid to do that job. You see, that is irresponsibility. So we want to pass what we can easily handle at our level to other bodies. We pass it to the church. We let the activists, come out. They speak about it. Some are abducted, all sorts of bad things are done unto them. And then also we expect our leaders to handle corruption, and yet they are the perpetrators. That is where we go wrong. So some of these things we just really need to have, honest discussions. We get the platforms, talk about them, and you as an individual, hiyo yenye umeona, deal with it. Only pray that God gives you wisdom to deal with it vile inatakikana, kusikwe na shortcuts. So then as we continue, then I'd love to take our dear listeners through effects of complacency. One is corruption becomes a culture. Umeona ikitendeka, huja report simply because unasema hiyo ndio Kenya. Inazidi kuwa Kenya. Na huenda ika affect even other countries. Because now, si watu wanakuja huku, like now East African. You just go anywhere. So what is advised in another country, itakuja tu huku because unaona iko normal. What has happened in one county and no action has been taken, like we've witnessed happen with our governors. They have been accused of stealing billions of money from us. Tunajionea hizo vitu vyote, mara EACC huyu ameshikwa nini, but they are never persecuted. Ni stories tu zinapia kwa news headlines, inaishia hapo. Then another county is tempted to do so. Somebody else steals public resources, no action is taken against them. When the victims remain unheard, kuna hiyo tendo la kinyama limetendeka, but nobody wants to listen to you. Simply because I said your position in the society does not allow you to. Nani atakusikiza? We baki hapo. You see that?
Yeah.
Then, another thing is moral standards obviously have collapsed because you've normalized wrong things in your society. Hapo sasa hakuna mambo mengine tena mnaweza ongelea. Hakuna morals, hakuna values. Those vices become the new morals, which is very wrong. And then also, we witnessed it in 2024, we witnessed it in part of 2025. The youth, they lose hope. Unaona, somebody has been a governor for 2 terms. Somebody has been in a senior leadership role for quite some time. More people have worked to retire. But then you see these people being recycled to very lucrative positions, and the youths are suffering.
Yeah.
Really. Where did we go wrong as a nation? What is the issue? Instead of recycling somebody who has been to a position, they have made money, they have retired, why don't you promote our youths? Wanatoka kwa shule. They need that employment more than the retirees. They need that employment more than how when they are well connected and they can just press a button and they get whatever they want.
Yeah.
So that priority is what we mean. And the youths, when they lose hope, it becomes terrible, and we saw it for ourselves. Then the society, watu wanakuwa tu. People become indifferent, nobody cares. We develop some attitude, nasema, hakuna mwenye atakusikiza, hakuna. So, we achana tunayo. And finally, as a result of all those, the church loses credibility. You cannot have a credible church if all these things are affecting us in the society and nobody is talking about them.
Yeah.
Because you'd ask yourself, who is the church? We form part of that church. What happens when you know very well that Brender has stolen public resources? Na nimekuja nikaleta hapo kwa kanisa in the name of building the church. We are constructing the church. And that money is accepted from me. It gets to a point that hata watu wanasema hata kanisa, they no longer defend us. Unaona? The church has become part of the oppressors. Quite unfortunate. So I'm seeing really time is really going, so I don't know at this particular point whether to give our dear listeners a chance for questions.
Yes, let's continue, then we'll finish with some questions later on.
Oh, okay.
I think we have 2 more. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So then, like I said, when we fail to act, when we become part of corrupt deals, then because we are the people who make up the church is not like the priest, we have our bishops, we have the priests, we have the religious women and men. That is not the church. It requires all of us to make a complete church. Those are anointed men of God, men and women of God that really give us that spiritual nourishment as Christians or believers. But then, if personally I'm corrupt, you realize that you are corrupt, and probably you have a leadership role in that church, you are likely to influence so many decisions. If the church doesn't stand firm on what is right, what should be done, then you may end up influencing everybody wrongly. You may end up oppressing people unknowingly or knowingly within that church. Because sasa si wewe unajieza, unakuja hapo unasema like, I know we support the church so much and I appreciate that. Even my own church today, we are constructing a very big church. But then you could be well placed in the society. Unakuja unaambia Christians, juu tunajenga kanisa, kila mtu atoe 5,000.
Yeah.
Kila mtu hapa atoe 5,500. are you really being considerate? Probably you are better placed. You could even give 100. Then kuna somebody there who can hardly afford even 100 bob. You see, if you give that 100,000, we shall have taken care of them. But then I'm talking of that dictatorial voice in the church. You really have to understand that people are placed differently economically. You know, even our social classes are different. But then if you have that role, how best do you use your position to support others? Yes.
Okay. We can take a short commercial break. Then when you come back, Brenda, we can take some few questions. Then later on, I think we'll finish with the remaining parts.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
The Catholic Justice and Peace Department in the Archdiocese of Kisumu invites you to the 2026 Lenten campaign launch scheduled for Saturday, 7th of February, the year 2026, starting at 8:30 a.m. at St. Joseph's the Worker Catholic Parish, Ugunja. The event will begin with a procession from St. Clement Training Institute in Ugunja, followed by a Holy Mass presided over by Most Reverend Maurice Muhatia Makumba. The theme for this year's Lenten campaign is Building a Just, Peaceful and United Kenya, Upholding Equity and Human Dignity. This theme reminds us that our spiritual renewal should be reflected in how we treat one another and how we care for our nation. It is a call for all of us to turn toward justice, healing and spiritual transformation. Let us all come out in our numbers. Thank you. This message has been brought to you by Reverend Father Francis Konyach, Director CJPD Kisumu.
Mwingi wa rehema, asiye yahesabu maovu ya watu.
Ilungane Catechist Josephine Aloka Ombo, I St. Hamar St. Peter's, The Rock, Just Chaplaincy, I Radio Maria, chakruok mar Radio Maria osebedo kapuonjowa weche mag rosary, weche mag injili to moloyo ne Father wa mochung'nwa e Radio Maria, Father Shadrack Malo, sebedo ka konyowa sach injili to moloyo Radio Maria opuonjowa e dak maber. Saa 4 wawinjo kipuonjowa kaka onego bed ni wadak e kanyakla mar Jo-Kristus, wadak kaka jogo mokendre morito sakrament mar kendruok. Radio Maria osepuonjowa sana nyithindo ka konyowa mondo miging'e tero rosary. Sade wawinjo ka gipuonjore katika isim, gipuonjore e somo, gipuonjore nyaka tero rosary. Mano miyo wahero Radio Maria nikech osechiewo nyaka jogo mano osebedo mayom e wuoth mar Kristo, kendo miyo sani kata jogo matuo ginyalo tero rosary e pien kama gintie.
An iluonga ni Martha Tieno, ae Gangu Center, Bobondo,
Wagonu erokamano kuom winjo Radio Maria Kenya Kisumu.
Radio Maria, Duon Ja Kristo Eodi.
Welcome back, our listener, and also Brenda. Thank you very much for your discussion for today. I will take a few questions from our listener while we wait for them to call in. I also have some few questions that we can discuss. Brenda, you've talked about the people that you might witness something, but then reporting or speaking about it might be difficult because of maybe the consequences that you might face later on. My question is, how do you think the government or probably even the church can support the whistleblowers and anti-corruption efforts?
Thank you so much, Diana. I think it is the law is very clear on whistleblower protection. If you are a whistleblower or a witness to something, you should be protected. The law is very clear. So you can report a case to the church like I admire and I think I'm a proud Catholic because the Catholic Church is well structured. There is a way, even at the lowest level in our society, right from the small Christian communities and even at our parish levels, there is a way you can escalate an incident to your parish priest. And now that we've come out strongly to lead the fight against breaking the chains of corruption, it should be known to all our parish priests. It should be known to all our Christians how to go about this. So first of all, let the church put clear structures and make it compulsory Like you see, for this period, it is an activity of the Justice and Peace Department.
Yeah.
But we can as well choose to make it deliberate for everybody. Let it be intentional. Within the Catholic structures that you see such an incident happen, this is how you need to report it. And then it gets to the right place. Because even as the church, we work with the government.
Yeah.
Justice and Peace, there's a lot that we are doing with the government. And the government has structures. It's only that Kenya, we have the best laws. That is what we've been told, and we believe we have the best laws because some we've gone through. But then you realize implementation is the issue. So the challenge I would pass to our government is to implement the law. The law is already there.
Yes.
If the government can choose to implement the law, then we will deal with corruption. The church gets to have deliberate platforms on how to handle corruption.
Okay.
It will be well.
Okay. To our listener, you can reach us through our number 0792690036. You can also send your message through our SMS line 0740671428. Brenda, we're still waiting for a question from our listener. Let's talk about something else that you have talked about. There's also something that you say that we have that mindset. Someone else will handle it. It is not my problem. How can we handle this when it comes to corruption, or how can we break the mindset of someone else will deal with it? It's not my problem, so it won't hurt me.
Thank you so much, Diane. I think that is very interesting. And now it takes us back to the introductory part of our discussion today. When we talk of, that is the complacency I was talking about.
Yes.
It doesn't bother me. It doesn't concern me. As a listener or a Christian, for this case, one thing that you should know, if you choose not to report it, you are part of it. Last week, we were talking about your conscience. This week, we are talking about complacency, because the two are inseparable. So, what you really need to do is do the right thing. Like we've said, that change you want begins with you. Umeona Brenda hapa ananyanyasa Diana. Speak it out. There is somebody who will listen to it. You learn to speak it out. The issue would be, how do you go about it? And that depends with the context, because there are different cases that we observe outside here. The reporting lines or channels may be different. So you need to understand, shida imekuwa gani? How do I go about it? But when you adopt that mentality or attitude of sio shida yangu hainihusu, then you also know you are involved in that moral failure or something. So let people just accept that your attitude tunaachana nayo. We need to come out, all of us, because it is a joint responsibility to speak about the vices that we witness in our society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Radio Maria, hello.
Hello, Dana. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Hello, say corruption, huh? Father, so corruption ni pesa manga to kilo and ma corruption. Ne ke yigo chalo, pesa chalo.
Pesa ma corruption?
Corruption milo seno. Madam no wachone kite your corruption tero pesa chalo. Your fathers promote the corruption. Fathers okinyal ngeo pesa no akanyi ne ke chindi biro ginwendi. Father matiyo walo en ngamwa mabur. Okonyal ngeo ni ngamo biro lemo ni ubiro gi pesa corruption.
Okay.
Mane ma defend fathers. Mano corruption okinyal ngeo. Mane kaka paro.
Okay. He's defending the fathers, huh? Did you say that?
Not really. I think
Not really, right?
He didn't get us right,
Yeah.
but whatever he's saying is right, because you can never know mtu ametoa pesa yake wapi,
Yeah.
though it didn't.
You can also not stand there and Lisa, oh, you're bringing your money. Where did you get your money from?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, okay. There's also something, Brenda, you are talking about, what was it? You're talking about the last point that you're talking about. I think I had a question from it. What is the biggest obstacle to addressing corruption in our institutions?
the biggest obstacles. Number one, I was talking of, fear of consequences. Umejua, ukiongelea, you might even lose your job. So you choose to keep quiet.
So how do we overcome that? Because even me, I might witness something, then I fear that tomorrow I might lose my job, and it's only thing that I'm surviving on. So there's someone might just keep quiet. Is there any other way that someone can report this incident without anonymously? Let me say like that, so that they don't identify me, so that it doesn't come back to me later on.
Thank you so much, Diana. That's a very interesting question. Like I said, first of all, it depends with the context. Within the institutions, I want to believe there should be policies. A well-established institution must have policies. And then there is what the policy says. But at times you realize that the violators of the policies are the topmost, the senior leadership. And then it becomes tricky. Number one, because we are talking of morality. What you are expected to do is speak the truth, even if it will cost you a job. Yes. As a Christian, the perspective is because you choose to be part of that process. I can assure you, even your stay there may be short-lived. Ukiona, for instance, maybe ilikuwa mambo ya kazi. Umeona somebody busy sending away people, akiajiri relatives or girlfriends or something of the sort. It can happen in any organization. Let me assure you, if you don't speak about it, time yako itakuja and you will be next. Especially if you are not a relative. We've also had cases of safeguarding, a lot of safeguarding issues within our institutions. So if you choose not to speak about it, itakurudia. So number one, we are told that is what we call moral courage. Speak about it even if it will cost you. I know it comes with risks, but learn to speak about it. Just choose integrity over convenience. Jiulize sasa, like maybe you're working in a healthcare center, uko kwa hospitali. Umechukua dawa zote kwa hospitali because we ni pharmacy pale, unaenda kuuzia kwako, unauzia watu public resources. Umeona your colleagues doing that, just choose not to be part of the process. Watauza the drugs, watapata pesa. I tell you that money won't help them. They will be spending it on something costly, which they would have avoided. And people don't realize that. So just accept not to be part of integrity. Then another thing, at times it is very costly. People will run away from you. Just choose to be alone. But your conscience is right.
That's
clear. Why I was saying it comes with a lot of uncomfortable discussion. But really we have to speak about it. Because utaona sasa kila mtu ameenda upande ule simply because of the reasons tulikuwa tunasema.
You find yourself standing on your own. That one is also related to another question that I'm getting here. Josephine from Sigombre, sincerely speaking, Brender, we really fear. Imagine you're going to report a crime. Na unawekwa ndani useme vizuri. Will you dare report? Wewe unaenda kureport, umeamka. Mimi Diana nimeamka, now I've seen Brenda doing this and it doesn't sit well with me. So I go report. When I report, unaambia wewe ingia ndani, you'll explain more about it. You find yourself wewe ndio sasa unaingizwa ndani. Instead of them following up your report, wewe ndio unaingizwa ndani, you explain more. So that one is also bringing fear.
I would respond to that concern differently. And this was quite unfortunate. To date, it remains an unfortunate event that took place in our country, but we didn't really like the way it has been left, not addressed. When the youth, the Gen Zs came out in good numbers to protest what is happening in our nation, they said we are willing to die. I heard of some unfortunate remark, mwingine alisema, heri uende kule, ukapigwe na risasi, and then your parents will be paid 1 million. Because if I was to leave, probably hata singeona that 1 million. I'm not saying like that is what should happen. But at times, those desperate moments call for action. Probably wewe ndio utakuwa like the sacrificial lamb, like in that case. Or maybe utapoteza kazi yako, but wenye wamebaki wanajua tu, if truly it happens, na watu wanajua ni so and so anafanya. nani amerushwa ndani because alisema hii ndio ukweli. Kusema ukweli na kuambia Diana, it requires you as an individual to make some sacrifices.
You have to be ready for it.
Utaachwa, kuna wakati utaachwa on your own. So let us not fear as Christians. There is a way that we can do it. But we really, like I said, always let us seek wisdom from God when we are undertaking such activities. Corruption si kitu mtu atafurahia ukimreport. Atatafuta like mbinu zote hata akumalize. Because unamzuia kuenjoy. What do you expect? But at the same time, as a Christian, we are challenged to come out. Let us do it. Let us speak out. Wengine wataenda, but justice is akuja.
Okay. So in regarding to that point where you're saying that we end a report even though there might be some consequences, do you think that we should, the government or the society should create a culture that reward the whistleblowers?
Very interesting. My only concern with that would be if I'm a whistleblower and my identity should be protected, then how will I be rewarded by the society? Because if you make it public, then watu watajua, kumbe ni wewe uli sema hii, unaona?
Ama hapo pia zitaleta uongo mingi.
Italeta uongo, then watu watakuwa wanajipendekeza, mtu anaenda tu na mambo yake. So I think there is a way it can be handled differently. What the society and even the government should do, let us promote the whistleblowers, the witnesses, unaona? Because that way, and we protect them. Usitumie mtoto wa wenyewe anakuja naongea pale, then you dump them outside there. Nimeenda nikasema, sijui mkubwa wangu alifanya hivi na hivi, then you are called in an open place where mkubwa amekalia sasa sema ile story. Unaona hiyo ni mbaya sana.
You can't even talk. You won't even appear.
You can't.
Okay, let's receive some calls. Hello.
Nyamwali.
Yes.
Makatiki sije kino maroba. Nyamwali, corruption ni to wan kaka jo Kristos mabindi winjo wachi. Nitiere gik ma wan bende koro nyaka wakwong walokre kapok wangesemo mana jatelo madongo mwaneno. To nikech kata wan waweyi wan be corruption wan bende wachangie. Ibiro yudo ni nitiere moro ma bende ma akia ni koro iluongo ni nomol, akia ni endo koro iwache na. Ranyisi gi jok ma idho matatu. Ibiro yudo ni matatu ondik nyaka kore kanyo noting'o ji 14. Iting'e ni isedonjo, in bende yudo ka ji 14 nosebete kombe, in kore ki ingo koko ni miya uru sambas. Nisekawo sambas isebete. Then donge mana achiel kuom mibadhi ma in bende nyayo. Kendo in eming'eyo kaka sa ng'eny ok idwa rito mtoka ma onego bed ni gine. To mar ariyo i mtoka achiel ni, in bende ero mitoka ringo. To in bende samoro nibete e bath tie drisa kanyo ero tiyudo ka polis chungo mtoka mbele kacha. To miya pesa to in tiyo ni in passenger tineno to bende leng'a. Ang'o ma watime? Donge onego wakawe action. To bende gini ka en gima ji onego riwre ne te. Ya mwalimu nyalo bede malit ka in ng'at achiel. Idwa ting'o duondi e mitoka ka. To joma moko to koro in ema kono idwa loku kodi. Do ing'e ni waleo, we kethonwa sa. Koro ni wan onego bed ni ochakre kuomwa mondo eka wanyalo tieke, wanyalo tire. Tieke to tek ndi to wanyalo duoke chien.
Erokamano. Brenda, regarding Catechist George's question, you see, we want our leaders to hold our leaders accountable when ourselves we are doing the same thing. So how is it going to work?
Yeah, thank you. I think that takes us back to must be the week 2. Week 3 topic that we discussed here. Family. We are saying integrity starts at home. So the moment me as a parent have not been a role model to my kids, don't expect them to be role model. The moment, and I love the example he's given, I commute every day to
and you see it.
What he said is exactly what happens. Then somebody, you give that money, watu wanakwambia unatuwestia time, hebu toa. Alafu mwingine utaona mwenzako akinyanyaswa, like watu wamekaa, the capacity of that vehicle ni kila space ni watu tatu. Then mwingine anakuambia songea huyo. then unakataa. Kwanza makondakta, they're the first people watakurushia maneno, nunua yako kama uwezi songa. You see,
they won't even tell you. Kuna other matatus ukiingia, you'll find that one. Ukiwa kama unataka kwenda pole pole sijui fanya ni, you find them written there already. So it's bring that fear almost. Ukisoma hivyo you don't want to speak out because it's already written there.
Sure. Very derogative language. Yeah, quite absurd.
Radio Maria.
Dana.
Yes.
Ukwekereza phone.
Auntie.
Muzina wendo.
Hata.
Ndo kama mama mor gitwak. Mad wonder wadigi sister apechwa Michael Okoto Chomo. Awuok dala mar nduru Paris. Amor gitwak. To penyo na mapenjo niya. Apiko olose jiario driver to kod ngamuti. Magitingo jiario toki mana be mana makosa. Bidon samoro apiko driver riembo to jede kutingo man taido marangwen. Una piko ngisa ni apiko no setingo jede kiki kana wone mai do ta golo pesa. Kwa piko tingo jia bi ya ngwen chien gas driver mana you are ski please. Koro ere ngamara e wachno mana ipacha pura keto koma binjika.
Okay. Yes, Brenda.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So you're saying it is good, he's saying the other passenger anajua tu vizuri the vehicle or rather the motorbike is full to capacity, and then you are forcing yourself to be part of
nisonge tu kidogo nikae. Kidogo tu nikae.
Unaona? So even that driver vile amekubali, he's part of the process. Mbona kubali? Si akatae. Hata huyu mwenye ningia hapo akona makosa, so both of them wakona makosa, including wale wengine wenye wako hapo. Juu anaona like huyu naye he's violating the traffic rules, but why do you allow that to happen? So just accept ujiondoe. I remember last I think in November, the last week of November, I boarded a matatu. Then there is this guy, he was only remaining with about 3 slots. Then when we got to Maseno, he got, so many students, about 8. Then he tells us, songeni to bebe hawa. I was like, what is the capacity of the vehicle? You are not carrying these children. But then the boys, there were 4 gents and ladies, they insisted they wanted to board that matatu, na waka overpower driver, wakaingia kwa matatu. So what I did was to come out, and even the other passengers who were already there came out. So this driver, finally he decided kuambia shukeni, mtaniletea shida. Because I thought that was the right thing to be done.
I think it starts with one person.
Sure.
Mtu mmoja akikataa, I think the rest will follow. But we are okay with it. Songa kidogo tu nikae tu. Kidogo tu. Niko na haraka sitaki kungoja kidogo.
That's what they do.
Nashuka tu hapa mbele. We're still waiting for more questions. 0792690036. You can also send your message through our SMS line 0740671428. Radio Maria hello.
Hello, Radio Maria Kenya Kisumu.
Yes, Donja Kristo Saudi.
Kwa majina naitwa Philip Margaret Karero Parish.
Karibu Philip Margaret.
Kuna jambo naliona katika kuhusu ile shirika ambalo linahusika na kumaliza mambo ya ufisadi, Anti-Corruption Commission. Ninaona kwamba kati ya Anti-Corruption Commission na DCI ambao wanachunguza jambo lolote ambalo ufisadi umetendeka, mahali ufisadi umetendeka kwa mtu yeyote, ambapo watachukua hilo jambo wapeleke kwa yule ambaye anaitwa DPP, wao wanahusika na mashtaka, kuwa mashtaka katika serikali. Mimi naona kwamba corruption iwe jambo la kusahau kabisa na liende kabisa, ni kwamba hili shirika lipewe sheria ya kushtaki mtu yote ambaye amepatikana na jambo lolote na ufisadi, sio kupitia hizi organization nyingine ambazo DCI, DPP. Hawa watu wa anti-corruption wakishika na jambo lote ama wizi wote wa pesa za umma, ushikwe, wakupeleke katika koti, wakushtaki, wawe na ushahidi wa kutosha, wakushtaki, na wacha kushtaki. Sasa koti ndio ina jukumu la kufanya nini, la kuhukumu kwa lile jambo ambalo umetenda. Ninaona hapo kuna gap. Hapo kuna mchezo unaweza tendeka hapo kwa DPP, kwa DCI. Ukifikia kotini, huyu mshtakiwa ana wakili 20 katika koti. wakifanya submission yao inachukua mwaka mzima. Defendant lawyers wanachukua mwaka mzima. Hata nakuuliza hiyo kesi itamalizika kweli? Katikati hapo utasikia imetupiliwa mbali kwamba hakuna ushahidi wa kutosha. Kwa sababu kuna gap imepatikana, kuna loophole imepatikana mahali. Sasa mimi naonelea hapo ndio kuna gap ambapo serikali ikijaribu kumaliza, wawape hawa EACC uwezo wa kushtaki katika mtu yote ambaye anapatikana kosa la ufisadi ashtakiwe moja kwa moja kutoka kwao. Asante sana, ni huo ndio jambo kidogo naweza kusema.
Okay, Brenda.
Thank you so much. The question is a very good one. I love your concern. Diana, what we must know, which is real anyway, is that people have lost trust in some of these offices. These are constitutional offices with clear mandates on what to do on corruption. And each office has their duties. When you talk of EACC, there is where they come in and when to escalate that case to ODPP to act. So if it is a matter of prosecution, iko kwa another office. But what happens, including the judiciary, people have lost trust. That democracy, you know, you unachukua kesi unapeleka hapo. Even back to our societies, kesi ya land umepeleka kwa judiciary, it will take a whole century. Then what comes out is unfavorable ruling. Haven't you heard of such cases?
There is.
People are losing faith in our on these offices that are mandated to strengthen or to fight corruption. So I wouldn't really say all the powers be taken to EACC, because each office, like I said, Kenya, we have the best laws. Let each office do their work. The constitution is very clear. The only thing that we need to do is the government should support. The government should strengthen these offices to implement their duties. But when there is unnecessary political influence, that is when we lose it. Because corruption cases are out there. You are told, huyu ametuibia pesa, this amount of money. But then they are prosecuted. They are hardly prosecuted. Watafikishwa mahakamani. After some time, then we are told ameachiliwa. Akishaachiliwa, anakuja nakuwa governor, anakuja nakuwa CS, anakuja. So they become the big people in the society. They go there when they are only, worth $1 million. But after 3 months, they talk of billions. What is your worth? This billion. Na wewe mwenye umempeleka huko hata una 100 bob. Unaona? So let these offices be strengthened by the government to do their roles.
Regarding that, there's also one person saying that you report a case of corruption, then you expect a follow-up, then you find no action is being taken. I think it's also the same as the one that you're talking about. Radio Maria, hello? Hello? I have a funny one. Mercy from St. Peter's, Manyata, Legion Maria. Is there corruption in marriage? Marriage people, and how can it be solved?
That's very interesting. I wish I had time to take her through the session we had on family as the first classroom of God's conscience. Corruption starts at home. If your moral formation was good at your tender ages, Dana kama huku waiba, hakuna vile at this stage utaanza kuibia mtu. That is corruption. And now you talk of a bigger family. Unaona? Uko hapa na your family, there is the other family, just from the same family. Wewe hapa unakula vizuri, unalisha watoto wako vizuri. Yet the other family, they go angry. That is a sense of irresponsibility. You know? Those kind of acts, that is corruption. Pole pole. These kids wakiona mama anatulisha hapa, the other family hata inakosa chakula, they grow up being, unaona,
knowing that is the way.
Wanajipenda tu, very individualistic. They don't care about wale wengine. So as they grow up, they will always think like everything is about us.
Nikieko kwa ofisi, it's supposed to be mine.
They grab. That is corruption. Corruption begins from our family. That is it.
Okay. Radio Maria, hello?
Hello, Radio Maria.
Yes.
Swali yangu inaenda hivi. Something that
kwanza nazungumza na nani?
Nazungumza Frederick Odamo kutoka Rusinga.
Karibu Frederick.
Yeah.
Swali lako?
Swali langu nasema kuna kitu ameongelea kuhusu in the institution. For time I was working in a beverage company. So when we supply this beverage around Nairobi that time. So this my boss started to employ his cousins. So at the time nijaribu kuzungumzia hilo jambo. Akasema kwamba utakaa kando kwanza. Kuna pesa ilikuwa imepotea. Na nilimpatia 35,000. Baadaye nikakuja nikasema ndio kinaendelea, nikatoka. Nikasema endeleeni kazi na hiyo kazi yenu. After a month later, one of my fellow workmates alikimbia na 45,000. So ikaenda hivyo mpaka hiyo kampuni ikakuja ikaanguka tu hivyo. Nijakuwa nao chini niwaeleze kwa hivyo na hivyo ni hivi au kutaka kunisikiza. So akasklay na zasema pia nepotism inachangia hizi vitu.
Okay. Yes, Brenda.
Thank you so much, dear listener. Like he said, nepotism is an element of corruption. Ukileta mapendeleo kazini, ati huyu ni sijui dada yangu, huyu sijui ni nani wangu, hiyo kampuni inaanguka.
Sema kiti kitokelezea tunasema tutamaliza kama familia.
Kama familia. And when you make an institution become a family thing, it gets to a point when you even lose authority over those people. Uwezi ukawambia anything. So it takes one courageous voice to awaken many silent consciences. So you need to come out as an individual, speak about it, and then that change will come. It's quite unfortunate that iyo kampuni lianguka, but let me tell you, those who embrace shortcuts, it is never long-lived. Inakuja inaisha. Yes.
Unasema unaona nikati awase ula toke enda leta shida. Then at the end of the day all of you will lose because the company languka chini.
Yes.
Brenda, I want us to finish because of time. I'm remaining all through 7 minutes and I need you to finish up so that we can prepare for the divine mercy. Is there anything remaining that you need to pass?
Not really. I think maybe just a key message on this. What we do is let listeners know that knowing the good creates an obligation to act. Ukishajua this is the right thing to do, you have an obligation to act. Hata wale wanaogopa kuongelea mambo na corruption, waongee tu, because it takes them courage to speak out to saidia wengine. You see that? Then complacency is not harmless. It is a moral failure. We are talking of moral values. If you choose to be complacent with the status quo, we utaki kunini anything, jua, you are leading to moral failure, or we are already there. And then finally, God does not ask us to change the whole world, like I said it. He asks us to do the good. We know. Wewe mwenye unajua tu, if you do this, then utakuwa umesaidia. Do it. Usiseme mimi ainihusu. Unaona? Not my task. So thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you very much, Brenda. See you another time. God bless you.
Thank you.
Nizonzo Maria Kenya Kisumu. Asante sana. Awai korekanyo ne divine mercy wadongi dakika moko beach.